As somewhat unexpected, given how my last two videos performed, but also how popular Plants vs Zombies Fusion is right now, this video is blowing up, and I'm really happy about that. The thing I wanted to happen the most was discussions of the issues I talked about, and it did happen, both in agreements and mostly in disagreements. As a result of this newfound fame, I'm gonna read and respond to some comments I got on my video and BiliBili reupload. Yup, someone decided to re-upload my video on BiliBili with Chinese subtitles, and apparently, I was told people were bashing it. Spoilers, but I couldn't find much bashing. Or maybe there was for a certain game mode I talked about in my video. Anyway, let's begin. Shy Guy Mask said, "For me, I dislike some zombies like Cherry Newspaper Zombie that are basically a black and white hard counter it or you instantly die lol case." I agree with this. Well, at least for early levels, because the Cherry Newspaper Zombie should either be replaced by the Explodo Shooter Zombie, which shoots slowly, or a new Cherry Bomb Zombie that explodes after a while. Also, I wasn't expecting you to comment. That's awesome. Bong Yes said, but Tornado Zombie would be redundant. I guess it's one of those why do it, why not do it, because it would just be one odd zombie with bigger stats. But also adding one should be piss easy. That's basically the discourse surrounding the missing 4 OG zombies. Personally, I just want them added because even though they're outclassed by Dancing Poor Valor, Bobsled Zomboni, Buck Shooter Zombie, and Fast Tornado Zombie respectively, they're still part of the original game. Plus, they could appear early in Adventure Mode before their stronger counterparts appear later. Don't mind me 8571 says, "I can't really agree with the iZombies fix solutions being a problem. They're puzzles. Puzzles typically only have one solution. Nobody really expects to freestyle a jigsaw puzzle. Are they hard as heck? Yeah, I can agree on that. If they made the solutions easier or more obvious, sure, why not? But the point is that you'll dig through a bunch of attempts before figuring out what specific combination you need to win. That's just how puzzles work." I should have seen this coming. If you haven't watched my video already, I talked about how iZombie was the worst mode in the game due to its randomized levels, which had only 3 unique seed banks, and its puzzle levels that relied heavily on trial and error. That part about puzzle levels is what got the most attention, because those levels were user submitted, so they weren't from the original devs and instead from users like Loves Catnip. In fact, the author apparently saw my video and said your point was not understandable. All I have to say is, I'm sorry, but these levels still infuriate me whenever I try to solve them compared to iZombie Endless in the original PVZ. It stems from how certain zombies don't crush brains and only Sunflower and Twin Sunflower reward you sun, both of which don't make sense. However, when you think about it, that was the main point behind these puzzle levels. They're meant to confuse you by utilizing those oversights. Addressing them would break those levels. I still want the oversights addressed, but I have a solution for keeping those levels while opening up new opportunities. iZombie Confusion Edition. Basically, it will be the home to the current puzzle levels we have, and there will be new settings like zombies can't eat brains, but they can crush them, or only pea shooter fusions give out sun. As for puzzle levels in general, they're just gonna have the oversights I mentioned addressed. Yes39P said, "SubChub has beaten all the iZombie levels. You can check out his solutions." I should have clarified this, but some of the things I wrote in this video were months ago. So like you said, YouTubers like SubChub and T-Pro-Play now have guides for beating the iZombie puzzle levels. Raren's Gamer said, "This is why you should play PVZ Hybrid Remake, even in an unfinished form. I think it does a better job at what PVZ Fusion does. I think this video also serves as a learning opportunity to step up their game, even if it means getting deleted for some reason. I've played PVZ Hybrid before, but I didn't get too far more into it compared to Fusion or Gardenless. Apparently there's a remake for it now. It looks the same from what I've seen. Also, what do you mean by getting deleted for some reason? Are you referring to when EA took action on Hybrid being on mobile and as a result Lan Pion discontinued Fusion for mobile out of fear? Camback Pro said, "It's so good that PVZ3 literally stole it." I don't think you're wrong about that. In fact, in some aspects, it's slightly better because at least pea shooter plus sunflower isn't designed like a twin sunflower pea shooter, and there are double fusions or merged TO2 plants for plants like potato mine and spikeweed. Metgamer 2011 said, "I'm sorry, but you speaking like that is really pissing me off. Please use a text-to-speech or something." I was more concerned about my audio mixing because, fun fact, around the end of the video, I changed how I was mixing my audio, so I was expecting comments talking about the weird changes that occurred towards the end. There were none. I don't know how to pronounce that. 4981 said, "Use Plantain Umbrella lol." I actually bet that level while making this video. And yes, it was with Plantain Umbrella or Lumos Umbrella, as the multi-language mod calls it. Daniel XDD3621 said, "Honestly, this is a great review, and I hope it reaches the developers since it could lead to significant improvements. After all, it's those little details that ultimately make the game better. The only thing I disagree with is the synergies, specifically point 4, because I feel that not everything in the game should suffer from having something to enhance it. I like plants that I can just place and that's it, without any synergies or complicated setups. Although I agree that some are more complementary than enhancements, like the pea shooter pumpkin and potato mine. Regarding point 3, a freezing system for plants would be fantastic, but I think some zombies, like the Yeti zombie, should instantly freeze plants when they approach them with a quick animation. That would be great. Absolute cinema. Now for the BiliBili comments. Zhao said, "This guy making wishes is infuriating. He talks so easily. Why doesn't he go write some code himself? I don't know if you mean by trying to rewrite plants to be slowed down instead of instantly frozen, which LPP can't do, or writing my own Plants vs Zombies merge fangame because I don't like some of the problems Fusion has. My phone numbers are all taken," said, "Although this guy is a casual player and many of his comments are unreasonable, he does a great job of scrutinizing details and filling in the gaps. Implementation issues aside, it's always good that he presents the problem from various perspectives. I don't agree much with the various perspectives part for the iZombie section. That one failed to see the point behind his puzzle levels. Otherwise, good comment." Gargantius 2 Bizarre said, "At first glance, this seems like a casual player's comment. Surprisingly, they didn't even complain about the Pokédex issues. Out of all the issues I mentioned, the Almanac, which I didn't bring up much, is one of the biggest issues among the Chinese community of PVZ Fusion, or at least was since the Almanac underwent an overhaul in version 3.2. I made a short about my thoughts on it, which are mixed to say the least. Anyway, I could see where they're coming from, because at first glance, there's nothing spotty about navigating the Almanac. Click on a plant and you can see its fusions. However, as you progress through the Almanac, it becomes somewhat complicated. You can only find out if upgrade plants have ice and fire fusions by clicking on Ice Shroom and Jalapeno respectively. You have to click on Switch View to see double fusions and the sun cost for each fusion if they were planted individually. Not all plants have their fusions in their pages, especially pea shooter with its Gatling lineages and item fusions, which are located in the others page. There is no search bar. Maybe I should have brought up this issue. Another name I can't pronounce said, "It's still early. It's normal for there to be more and more minor issues. What program can reduce the number of problems as it expands in size? I mean, this is probably the first major game LPP has ever developed, so that's a fair statement." Xiaodong played well level 4 said, "I didn't arrive. I heard this video was mentioned in the IZQ group, so I came. I'm guessing this is the bashing part I was told about on Discord. It was hard to read the image that Google translated for me, so I asked the PVZ Fusion fans Discord for help. And amazingly enough, I received a clear translation of what the iZombie group was saying about me. This person has the wrong understanding. I'll go watch it. Finished watching, dumbass. Well, I can't be mad about it anyway since I misunderstood the point of those levels in the first place. Last but not least, Code Spell Henu said, the fact that it can't prevent freezing is ridiculous. Didn't you fight the snowfield level? However, IZ is indeed quite difficult to clear, especially the submission stage. Playing this is like being in prison. If you can't understand the strategy at all and only manage to pass by reading guides with the fixed method, then you're practically invincible. I don't get the first part, but the rest is a great response. That was every comment I picked out to read and respond to. As I went through each comment, I realized that Plants vs. Zombies Fusion is a somewhat complicated fan game with a somewhat complicated player base. When the game has fusions that outclass others, no one complains, but when there are bad showcase levels, a whole video is made criticizing them, which gets so popular that it supposedly attracted the devs, leading to some levels being changed or removed. Granted, the Chinese community is the side the devs will listen to the most, but there's never any discourse about the weird things that are just being added or have been in the game for a while, like jalapeno fusions now destroying plants, potato fume not exploding upon death, or sunflower fusions with the mushrooms having pellets. Also, I can't forget about Solar Shooter and Solar Bomb's designs being those two plants from PVZ Hybrid. I'm surprised they haven't been redesigned yet. Despite all this, the game isn't too bad to play. I just wish there was more attention drawn to the strange stuff in the game, but I'm not saying the player base should stop becoming more critical of the game. You have to remember that this is all being done by 4 people, and they definitely didn't plan on what fusions like Umbrella Cap would look or function like. In fact, at what point will development stop? After all basic fusions are finished, all item fusions, including impossible ones, Sea Pumpkin finally being on water, we shouldn't think about that and enjoy what we're getting right now. That's all I have to say. So anyways, goodbye.